Well, hi, hello, and welcome to this place on the Yield Interwebs. Happy Friday! It has been pointed out to me that it is a Friday today, so congratulations, we have survived this week in one way or another. Happy times. Unless Fridays indicate the beginning of a work week for you, in which case I'm very sorry. But it is what it is. Anyhow, we're gonna have yet another joyous, productive day. At least I can feel it. I can feel it in my insides, inside there. It's gonna be great. So, yesterday, everything's upside down, by the way, because I have made a decision to actually sort out these flowers as well before I approach my face and the rest of me on this paper. There is no like particular reason why, because yesterday, quite frankly, I did the flowers, and I did sort of allude to the idea that yeah, today I might be tackling my face and all that good stuff, because like there are some leaves that are overlapping things, and it would be a smarter decision to first cover the body and get that done before I do the leaves. However, after further inspection, I came to the conclusion that maybe a smarter thing to do would be to get these bits done at least. The leaves will still stay, you know, plain simple, untouched for now. But I want to sort out this region so that then I can do the hair, and it's going to be pretty straightforward to go around these bits in order to paint the hair. And here also the overlap is like not that major. Also partially because it's just, I am intimidated by the face painting part, I'm not gonna lie. There is a level of, I just don't really know how to even do it and where to begin and how to approach it. Like, I'm terrified to fuck it up basically, and I don't want to fuck it up today. I will leave it probably for tomorrow so that I can fuck up my face and then have a mental breakdown because of it. Uh, but that's the thing with watercolors. I mean, even with gouache, I have painted fair few gouache portraits, and it is a struggle. I mean, I'm no portrait painting, not even an expert. Like I'm basically a portrait painting beginner at the very best. And watercolors, that's like a whole new shebang. And I just don't know how to do it. So I will leave it for tomorrow and sort out the things that I know how to do, or at least I'm confident enough that I'm not gonna screw up. So join me while I paint the flowers and the leaves here. Anyhow, good morning to everyone who has joined my little rant about my watercolor insecurities. I hope the rest of the day is gonna be just as delightful. So let's do it, shall we? Also, I'm still rocking my space buns. Ah, gotta love them. They are pretty nice and neat, and you know, it's just a solid hairstyle. I mean, there are some bits here that are like, they are a good indication to the fact that my hair might need a wash. It's like, oh yeah, this bit is a little, it's a little funky looking. But like, other than that, it's a great hairstyle for when your hair needs a wash, but you just can't be bothered to wash it. So here we are. It's great. Things are great. Oh, you have cute jorts. Wow. 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 A great fashion statement indeed. Beautiful. Beautiful. More power to you and your jorts. Yeah, let's just spritz everything with some misty water. Let's do it. Ain't gonna hurt. So, what brush did I use? How did I even approach it? I think I did like a darkish gradient wash on each petal and then I went over with like more darkness. I think that was the approach. So this brush is gonna be my savior. I forgot already. Well, sometimes I apply techniques to my works that are very, sort of on the spot. On the spot, I come up with it. It's like, yeah, this might look cool. And then once I'm done, it's like, I don't even know what I did to make it look a certain way. But no, I do remember. Now that I give it a little bit more of a thinking, I do remember what I was doing and how I got to like this kind of point. Quite frankly, I do really want to pat on my own shoulder here. I'm very pleased with this flower. I do like all of them, but this one I really like. It's dark, but it has the highlights and it has, ooh, just, like self-inflicted praise. This is what you're witnessing all. Just me praising myself. But I'm very happy with the flower, It's the little things. Sometimes you just need to praise yourself.
I think we're gonna be friends.
Oh, Lila. Thank you all so very much for subscriberonies. Well, a nice round of Chloe hearts going directly towards you. Greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much. Also, hi, hello, and welcome. Happy Friday to you. Do I have a reference for those flowers? No, I don't. When I was sketching them out, I was using pictures of peonies to get like a general idea how to build the flower itself. But once I started the painting process, there were no references. It was just slap some paint on and hope for the best. And quite frankly, it was a good... Oh no, I splashed some paint already. Eek. It's fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. Don't you worry. Commander, hello, welcome. Well, hello, Daniel. Came back from more entertaining. Well, not sure about the entertainment today. We're trying to keep things nice and productive, so chances are it's gonna be more of a chill, getting stuff done kind of day, and less of a rambly bullshit kind of day, you know? So maybe this is the kind of entertainment you want. Just productive entertainment. Well then, enjoy. You're pretty impressed at the painting so far, especially in terms of the colors. You always thought that watercolor could always be the pastel, watery style, but again, it's so opaque and intense. Yeah, it really depends, like how much pigment you actually use and mix in with your water. And, but frankly, generally speaking, it's more. I mean, not that there are rules how to do it, but like typically you are kind of supposed to keep things like more light and more airy, and that's sort of the gist of watercolors. But I like when there is a pop of color, if it's just light something something, I don't know. Um, Salty, well, thank you. Thank you very much and welcome. The stupid follow-up question, why not go with gouache directly then? That is a great question. I could have as well gone with gouache, however, there is a difference. And I mean, it's not so much in the paint itself, I guess, because you can certainly dilute gouache for it to also be like very runny and almost go like watercolor on the paper, but no, I I understand it's a genuine question. I'm trying to sort of give like a somewhat substantial answer. I think the main thing why I would go with watercolors in this case is I do want to preserve some of the lightness, I guess. And watercolors within themselves, even if you mix them up like really pigmented, they still have like a little bit of that translucent, transparent quality to them. So even though this is very dark, you can still see, you can sort of see the light to some extent. And obviously it depends how I layer the paint and all of that, but you can still see some bits of like maybe a bit of the paper shining through, maybe this, maybe that. Even the darker bits, they are dark, but they're not like, I don't even know how to describe it. Gouache is very like, yep, darkness, it's here, it's just intense, bam. Gouache wants to cover everything. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. It's just that this feels better. That's about it. Feels better and this feels right. I don't have an answer. Long story short, I quite frankly don't have an answer. It would be great if there was someone who's actually a watercolor expert and knows how to explain the science behind the watercolors and the gouache and everything else, you know? I have a very basic understanding about, you know, where exactly the differences lay and in which cases it's more beneficial to use one over the other. For me, it's just, I think some of them look better than others, and sometimes it feels more better to use watercolor than gouache and vice versa. With gouache, it's just a color, but with watercolor, you can work more with the paper and light. Well, that's sort of how you're supposed to work with watercolors. It is the paper and the light parts, they are very important when working with watercolors. You need to preserve them, or at least that's the objective a lot of the times, preserving potentially the white of the paper and, you know, all of that, because you don't have like a white color. As opposed to gouache, you could cover everything with black and then put on white highlights with white paint. And that's sort of how gouache works. I don't know. These are questions I don't have answers for this Friday and ever, quite frankly, at least not as of right now. I just know that when it's painted with watercolors, it looks different than when it's painted with gouache, even if I would apply the same techniques. Even if I would dilute gouache to a liquidy state, it would look different. And I can't explain why. Because I don't know, but it just looks different. If I use both, then which I would recommend for a first try, or does it just depend on the look you're after? It's way easier to work with gouache. I mean, it is what it is. Gouache is easy, gouache is forgiving. With gouache, you don't need to think backwards in a sense of, well, as I said, this is a ramble and I don't even know what the original question was. But the idea with watercolors is you start from light or from the lightest bits, and then you work towards darkness while trying to preserve the lighter parts of the paper. Those then become your highlights. And that's how you build a watercolor painting, sort of from the light to darkness. With gouache, you can start from the darkest dark, if you so wish, and move your way towards light. As like melodramatic as it sounds. Because the paint is so opaque and so pigmented, you don't really need to think about, ooh, I need to preserve this light here. It's like, no, I can just take some white paint, slap it on, I have a highlight. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, you know? So, at the base level, they are both watercolors, but they are just meant for different applications. Or at least, if you want things more like light and airy, you're more likely to go with watercolors. And if you want things like pretty, vibrant, intense, nicely covered, gouache is the way to go. But anyhow, I can only speak from my own personal experience, and quite frankly, is my personal experience even valid for like any proper information? I don't know. I mean, I barely know what I'm doing. So, I don't know. I'm sure there are plenty of people on the interwebs that could explain this in a much better way, in a way where you can understand what was even happening, because I don't know. It's paint. It looks good. I put it on paper. End of story. Is it actually raining? Well, the rain you can hear is digital, so it's just digital rain. Is it actually raining outside as well? Potentially. I don't know. I can't quite see. Can I possibly turn it over for a few seconds? There you go. Well, thank you, Monica. Well, thank you. I guess that's also like a big difference between the watercolors and gouache. It's just on many levels, watercolors require, like, I will say, more skill to be able to pull it off. They just leave very little room for fuck-ups, basically. They leave little room for fuck-ups, and they require a good amount of planning, which, you know, is challenging at times. Satellite image? What do you mean satellite? What satellite images? Huh? Let me just paint the world map. Oh, it's certainly rewarding, yes. That's for sure. Well, I can't say that I've painted satellite images of any kind. Does watercolor give you more play with the mix of color? Is it similar? I think as far as color mixing, it is pretty similar. The difference between gouache and watercolors that I find as far as color mixes go is gouache tends to dry to a slightly different color, or at least a slightly different shade, so you do need to account for that. Watercolors are like whatever you mix on the paper, it is obviously gonna dry a bit lighter. Things, you know, as the water evaporates, things sort of dull down a little bit, but with gouache, darker colors tend to get a tad bit lighter. Lighter colors tend to get a tad bit darker, so you need to keep that in mind when mixing and painting. But other than that, it's pretty much the same thing. Well, Twitch, good morning. Hello. Luana, hello, welcome. How are you? Give me a hot second, be right back. Aslander, hello, welcome. Well, thank you, Daniel. Thank you very much. Bunker. Hello, welcome. How are you? Well, goodbye, Daniel. Thanks for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day/night. See you some other time. Oh, no, thank you. Doing alright, thanks. Having a solid Friday. Getting stuff done. Hopefully we'll get all the flowers and plants here all finished up. Maybe even start some bits on the body part of the whole shebang. But we'll see. Well, it certainly is a solid plan. I'm slow, Manasseh. I'm slow. How are you? I'm doing alright, thank you. Thank you very much. A little tired though. Well, maybe a little nap can sort it out later throughout the day. Mr. Matthew, hello. Did I create my emotes? My emotes on my own, yes. You'll never forget to host again because you finally set up your host list. Whoop whoop. Party time. Which program did I use? You want to try to make some too? I used Photoshop. Oh, no problem. Have I seen Ace Ventura? The movie? Yes. We don't have the chainsaw harmonic today. Well, luckily no. I mean, there's still time, so don't you worry. But so far so good. We haven't had any chainsaw noises, any drilling, you know. Too good to be true almost. I mean, for the most part, the cats don't care. They're just minding their own business and sleeping for the most part anyway, so there is that. They do get startled every once in a while if the drilling is like right next door. Because then it's, you know, like the walls are shaking kind of thing. And they are a little bit, you know, confused about what the hell is happening, but other than that. Maybe they're also just used to it at this point. Twitch acting up for everybody else. Freezing picture sound is fine though, or just your internet is dying. I don't know. I mean, everything seems fine on my end, so maybe. Your internet is on its last legs. Rihar, hello, welcome. And hi, So. You like those colors? Well, thanks. I like them as well. Pretty neat. Well, good luck, Bunker. I hope you can I want to say beat some obedience in your router, but quite frankly, maybe you just need to have a delicate approach, a little conversation with your router. Be like, mate, listen, I need you to cooperate with me. We can't continue living like this. You need to put the work in. The yellow border is the limitation for the frame, or am I gonna repaint that at the end? I just wanted to keep like a white border basically all around it, so the yellow bit is masking tape or more like masking fluid, and I will pull that all off once the painting is done, and we'll have like a nice white round, not round, white round. Why am I saying round? It's not round. White border, no roundness, just straight edge border. I just think it might look pretty neat. You thought I glued the paper to something to reduce wrinkling or so. Well, that's what most of the time people do with masking tape. But we already established I don't have masking tape. And quite frankly, the wrinkling is not that bad. I'm not using like horrid amounts of water. So the paper is like, yeah, things are pretty chill. I don't need to wrinkle that much. So everything's fine. But if I would go like heavy with water, I certainly would benefit from like taping it to some sort of surface and, you know. Animalo, hello, welcome. Yeah, this time it's just for like aesthetic purposes. And also, you know, there is a chance that maybe once I get rid of the masking fluid, I actually don't like the white border. I can always cut it off, you know? That's the worst case scenario. It just looks like shit. So chop, 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 snip, 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 and everything's golden. How do you get rid of this fluid? Like scratching when there's another fluid to remove it? Oh no, it dries into like a rubbery sort of stretchy material. So basically you can just peel it off. I mean, you do need to do like a little bit of light rubbing to sort of get it going, but once you have a little grip, bit, you can just peel it off. It's pretty satisfying. It's a pretty satisfying thing. Hello, Donut. Well, a great Friday to you as well. A light grip and get it going. Exactly. It's like ripping off a band-aid in one bit. Clean, simple, satisfying. Well, yeah, there are many forms of it. The one that I have is this kind of masking fluid, slightly tinted yellow, stinks like absolute hell. Don't know why, but you know, the smell is atrocious. But generally speaking, it's used for obviously watercolors, especially if you don't really wanna be like extremely precise when painting and you just want to make sure that certain areas just stay paper white. So you put the masking fluid on top of those areas and you can paint over the whole thing with watercolors, and then once you're done painting you can just remove the fluid from the paper and it exposes the white bits, and it's like an easy way to just preserve light. And also you can technically put it on some bits that are already painted, so you know, I could technically put it on this little painted area here if I wanted to go over it with some darker color, but most often it's just on white paper, you know, the first thing you do before you start painting. Anyhow, there are also plenty of people who don't like this, like watercolor artists are like, yeah, no, I'd rather just work around the light areas without any fluids on top of it. So whatever floats anyone's boat. Easy peasy lemon lemon, yes. Catron, hello, welcome. Describe the smell of that thing. I mean, it has sort of like a fishy sort of nastiness to it. Sort of chemicals mixed with fish. That's that's my description. You use your imagination. Why is you upside down? To make my life easier, you know? I need to paint this bit. I don't want to be reaching over there somewhere. No. Yes, it's like yin yang. Yes. I find it interesting how the highlights are done like darker and darker while avoiding area. Your brain was tending to go the opposite way, like adding some small touches of lighter color on top of darker. Does it work as well? You can't do it with watercolors. Quite frankly, watercolors, by default, they don't have any white. And even the lighter colors, like a light yellow, for instance, you won't be able to see that on top of darkness, and that is not how you can create light with watercolors. You need to work from lights to darkness. If you want to do things the other way around, you need to pick a different kind of paint. Gouache, for instance, perfect for it. Acrylics, perfect for it. Oils, perfect for it. Probably other paints out there that I can't think of right now. But watercolors, no. Watercolors force you to sort of rewire the thinking and be like, okay, I need to already know where my highlights are gonna be, so I can start from that and then go to the darkness. Which is rather challenging, especially when you first start with watercolors. And I mean, I find it very challenging right now. It's been a hot second since I worked with watercolors. It's just, I don't know. It's just tricky. The watercolor kits also came with a tube of white color. I mean, yes. And technically, like this set that I have right here, it also has some white, but it's not really meant for highlights per se. You can, however, mix it in with some colors to, you know, maybe give them a little bit more opacity. That is what it's gonna do a lot of the times. It's gonna make the color that you're mixing a little bit more light, but also a little bit more opaque and less sort of translucent. But it's certainly not there for highlights. It's just, yeah, you know, to change a color itself. You know, like for instance, this green, I could add a little bit of white and you know, make it whatever. Your teacher never told you, they probably didn't even know. Well, also I think during school times, you know, it's more just like giving the kids like some sort of spark of creativity, you know, here, have some paints and have fun sort of thing. It's not as much like, are you using the proper technique and you need to do this and that. It's like, please just paint something, you know, like smudge some bits on paper. Also, Knives, thank you also very much for the raid. Welcome to this place. We have things upside down, but it's okay. I'm just working in this corner, so it's easier to have things upside down. But how was your stream? What did you do? Let us know. You tried to do some art for yourself and you quickly, all capital, lost confidence. Oh no. Oh no, that's, you know, not the best, but at least you give it a good shot. Oh, and then you sang, okay. Well, that's great. Also, now that I'm thinking back in school days, um, I think we mostly ever really had just gouache. I cannot remember a time when we would actually work with watercolors. It was usually just gouache. Gouache or colored pencils. Those are the two things that we ever had. Same was always gouache in the shop. The first year, and you don't remember using paint more than once a year. Right. I mean, that's the thing, during the school times and like art lessons, it only lasts for what, 40, 45 minutes, however long was the lesson. Can't remember anymore. Maybe it was 15 minutes. Who cares? It's not like there is a lot you can do within that amount of time. And also the whole setting things up, and then you need to bring water tubs and brushes, and then you have to clean things up. And if you have tubes of paint, and you need palettes, and then you need this and that and the other, and it's just so much stuff that you need with you. And then for what? You set up, 10 minutes are already gone. Then you can't decide what to paint. Another 10 minutes are gone. Then you have like another 20 minutes only left from the lesson. And at that point, it's like, well, why even bother? Why do I even. Why? Let's just slowly start to put things back into the bag. Getting back into pen and paper drawings, with your 3 years of art in high school and 5 years of graphic design in college apparently have not translated well over the years. You took a break for like 6 years. Well, I'm sure you will get back into it. It might take a little bit of time, but I'm sure you can manage. Well, Sam, hello, good morning. How are you? Woke up way too early. Well, an earlier start for the day then. It's your daughter's 8th birthday and it's raining. Oh, well, happy birthday to your daughter then. Even if it's raining, I'm sure it's gonna be a great day. My right hand looks like a left hand just mirrored. Okay. She got tap shoes from her aunt. She'll be tapping away today, you're sure. Oh, it's gonna be tapping for the rest of the month. Well, that's pretty exciting. You made unicorn cupcakes last night and you dropped them. So you're making new batches this morning. Oh. Well, that's unfortunate. Oh well. Stuff like that happens. What can you do? Your daughter said, well, it's in the container, so it's not like it's actually touched the floor. You can just scoop the frosting on again. I mean, right, technically. I guess depends how damaged they are. I don't know. If they didn't land directly on the floor, then you can just have like a little container cupcake salad. That's a thing. That sounds like a birthday food. Cupcake salad in a container. Squish cakes. They didn't break. It was homemade whipped frosting with lots of colors, and all the frosting just came off. So she's right, you could. Well, maybe in that case you should. Saves time. Yeah, well, I mean, that is unfortunate. Goodbye, Donut. See you some other time. Well, first of all, that is commitment. Like baking 6 cupcakes at a time and then repeating that over and over again. Again. Again, that is commitment in my eyes. But yeah, a 24 one certainly would have been very helpful. Next time. For the next year's birthday. Well, welcome back, Bunker. Did you have a conversation with your router? Okay, you know what? I will go and make a cup of tea. The water is great, but I want something a little bit more warm and, you know. So, see you in a bit. I will return. Alright, Navs, well, thank you for the raid once again. Good night, and hopefully see you some other time, and good luck with your artistic adventures. Oh, thank you, little Sam. Hello, Smurf, welcome. Oh, well, thank you, thank you. Slowly coming together. I feel like I can't find a freaking comfortable position on this goddamn yoga ball. What the heck is happening today? My dear yoga ball, are you willing to cooperate with me? Or are you gonna be playing against me? What the heck? A bogeyol. Today it is acting like a bogeyol. How do you find a good spot on the sphere? Well, it's more about, I guess, the leg position. Where do the legs go and how do they go? Currently, one of my legs is like bent and propped up on the side of the ball, which sounds funky, and it is funky, but it feels somewhat all right. So, you know, ow, banged me hand, didn't I? Anyhow. Well, right, it does sort of, it adjusts and adapts to your curves. Let's just put it that way. this little shelf here that you can't see, but there is a shelf. I think the shelf will have to go somewhere else. Because right now, I have rearranged everything. I feel like I'm constantly booping into it. That ain't right. Oh, who are you? Can't see your name. Carlos, hello, welcome. Welcome to this place. Yeah, there's a lot of booping happening. Unnecessary booping. There, oopsie daisy, that was also unnecessary. Unnecessary bashing into the table. Yesterday you learned that you know like 5 flowers. That's a good amount of flowers. I think that's sufficient for everyday applications. You wanted to have a flowery background for a piece, and you for the life of you couldn't find any ones you liked. From the 5 flowers that you knew. What are the 5 flowers? Roses, daisies, tulips, peonies, hyacinths. Sunflower. I mean, one thing that I oftentimes do if I wanna find like a cool looking plant or a cool looking flower, whether I look up meadow flowers or meadow pictures, basically just meadows of all kinds. And usually those contain like funky things that can then be recreated on a paper. You had a girlfriend who considered the boobs, the touching of the nose, most unwelcome. Well, to each to their own. If someone is not into nose boobs, then so be it. What can you do? Can't force them to boob anything, can you? Pinterest app keeps crashing. God damn it, Pinterest, get your shit together. Why is your app crashing? Let me look up Scottish primrose. Scottish primrose. Oh! Oh, I know those guys. They are very pretty. Real cutie patooties. Cuties. Cuties patooties. Yeah, I mean in Latvia those are very popular plants in gardens and things. Maybe not the super tiny versions, but there are bigger varieties out there. They're very nice. Your mum liked growing poppies and dahlias. Oh yeah, those are both very pretty as well. Well, not exactly those, but there are different types of them, or at least the different kind of primrose, I guess. Not a Scottish kind, but a different kind, and those look relatively similar, but the blossoms are much bigger, and it's just more of a bushy boy, I guess. But I'm pretty sure it's the same, like, wheelhouse. They come from the same origin somewhere. There's like a different variation.